Good morning and welcome back to News and Views with myself, Salailo Makwidiri. And on today's News and Views, we're thrilled to welcome one of South Africa's premier cricketers, the left arm unorthodox spin bowler, Tabraiz Shamsi, from his international debut in 2016 to setting records as the highest wicket taker in T20 cricket for the Proteas. Shamsi's journey has been nothing short of remarkable. But beyond the cricket field, Shamsi's journey is deeply connected to his faith as a proud Muslim. And we're going to delve into how he navigates the sacred month of Ramadan while maintaining peak performance in one of the most physically demanding sports. And today we'll explore also his spirituality, his approach to balancing faith and professional sports, and how he stays grounded amidst his cricketing success. So let's dive into the conversation. We have Tabraiz ready to join us on the other side. Assalamu alaikum, brother Tabraiz. Really excited to be chatting to you, and welcome to Salam Media.
Alaikum salam. Thank you for having me.
The pleasure is all ours. I think we can kickstart the conversation with you obviously having made your name for yourself as one of the most successful T20 bowlers in South African cricket. But beyond your cricketing stats, your journey as a Muslim athlete is also one that's very inspiring. How do you stay grounded, particularly spiritually, when you are in the public eye and there's so much attention and buzz around you and what you do?
I think it's quite simple. The answer is in the question. Everything comes from Allah, and I'm a firm believer in that. There's nothing special about my bowling or my cricketing skills. It's what was given to me by Allah. Of course, we have to work hard. We have to make use of the skill that we've been given. But I just had to be put into the right place at the right time for me to succeed, and that obviously comes from Allah. So I think that's one thing that I've never ever forgotten. That whatever I'm doing, there's nothing special about me per se. Anyone else could be doing exactly what I'm doing, but obviously everything comes from Allah. So yeah, there's no reason for you to fly too high above the ground, if I can put it that way, and just to remain grounded.
No, definitely. We are now in Ramadan, a very significant month for Muslims across the world. As a professional athlete, how do you manage the physical demands of training and playing while also observing the fast, and are there specific routines or strategies that help you maintain both your performance and your faith during this time?
Yeah, I think so. Look, obviously your timings for your meals are a bit different, and on game days it's a lot more intense. Then on training days you can sort of manage yourself during training, but when it comes to games, you have to go all out. So I think at Seri time, there's a lot more electrolytes and things like that. You try and take them early in the morning, a lot of fluids and stuff like that, because obviously we got to go the whole day without any of that. So, it's funny that, if you try and do this when it's not Ramadan and when you're not fasting, something's just a lot more difficult. But then during the month of Ramadan, it just your mind just shifts into that gear, and things become a lot simpler.
I want to touch on that, especially I've spoken to a lot of professional athletes who are Muslim, and almost all of them say the same thing, that when you're fasting, there seems to be like a different kind of focus that you have, and some of them actually say they find themselves performing even better if they have games during Ramadan. Is it the same for you, and is there maybe a particular game that you remember where it was happening during Ramadan and then you just find yourself just knocking the wickets out, and you can maybe attribute it to it being Ramadan?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because a couple of years ago we had a series against Pakistan in South Africa. So, I think we had a game on Wednesday, on Friday, and then Sunday. So the game on Wednesday, it was just before the month of Ramadan. So, I was playing, and I'd say to myself, look, on Friday, I'm going to have to fast and play. So let me just practice. Let me just, try and not have any water leading up to the game. Let me not have lunch before the game. And just to see how I would feel on Friday, because that's when Ramadan would start.
Mm.
Um, and I couldn't do it. It's so weird that I couldn't do it. And then come Friday, when it's actually Ramadan and I'm fasting, something just clicks in your head, and that switch just turns off. Where you start feeling thirsty or you start feeling hungry, and it was just amazing. I went back to my room after the game, and I had a little laugh because I tried to do the exact same thing on Wednesday when I wasn't fasting, even having had breakfast and things like that, and I couldn't cope without water in the game. But then come Friday, while I was fasting, it was just different. So yeah, I can't explain it, but I suppose it's just a mental state that you go in, where it just makes things easier for you.
No, definitely, I can imagine. And when it comes to Cricket South Africa themselves, are they supportive to Muslim cricketers during this month of Ramadan? Are there any kind of changes that they would make to you guys' routines? Maybe whether it's training or the kind of diet that they put you guys on. How involved are they during this month?
Yeah, of course. We've just come back from Pakistan now during the Champions Trophy. Fortunately, that's a Muslim country, so there's a whole breakfast that's set out by the hotel for Seri time. But when we've been in other countries such as Australia or England, the team manager would make provision. We just have to let him know what time we have to get up to eat, and they would make provisions with the hotel staff to deliver food for us in the morning, and just to try and make us as comfortable as possible. So in that sense, Cricket South Africa has been amazing. The trainers are there to help us with electrolytes and things like that. Some advice of what to eat and what not to eat in the mornings, just to get us through the day. So from that point of view, we've had amazing support over the years from Cricket South Africa.
No, that's amazing. Do you remember your first game? Your first high intense pressure game for the Proteas that you had to play during the month of Ramadan and you were fasting. Do you remember how you performed, and what was it like having that experience for the first time?
I take you further back than that. While I was at school, I think I was probably 14 or 15, and I was fasting, and I played a game in Pretoria, and I actually scored a 50 that day.
Oh.
And that sort of set this thing in my mind that fasting is not going to hinder my game.
Mm.
So I think that was a great example, in front of my own eyes, that so that's why I think, moving forward in my career as well, I've tried to keep up with that as much as possible, and not see it as something that would reduce my performance, per se.
Nah, that's really amazing. Let's touch a bit about the mental side of cricket, and how faith has shaped your mindset on and off the field, particularly when it comes to dealing with stress, pressure or difficult moments in the game. And as a Protea, I'm sure know more about those when the chips are down and you kind of have to tap into something a bit more special at that moment than maybe the motivation that you have around you and your teammates. Take us through that, tapping into your faith during difficult times when you're on the field of play and the chips are down.
I think the mental side and the faith has a huge part to play in sports. In terms of your skill at that level, you're playing against people that are at the top of their craft, and so are you. So there's not a huge difference between the skill level of players, and it's all mental. So for me, it's a lot of reading, when I'm in the field, and even when I'm bowling and stuff like that. So that sort of, helps me keep calm. And, we are in a fortunate position. We know that everything comes from Allah. So even if I have a bad game, it's okay. I go back to my room and, just make dua again and hope for a better game the next day. So I think that's sort of something that keeps me calm on the field, that whatever's happening on the field is meant to be, and that's what's written for me on that particular moment and in that game. So that sort of keeps me just relaxed, and just keep on pushing to try and do better. Every single over.
Mm, mm, mm. And as a top level, high class Muslim athlete, do you feel almost a sense of responsibility to serve as a role model for young Muslims who also aspire to be at the level that you're on, and who aspire to balance their faith with their passion for sports also?
Yeah, of course. I think that is a responsibility that you have, and there's a certain way you have to go about things. There's a certain way you have to live your life, and I think the most important thing is that there's so many of us that have done it. So our religion should never be seen as a hindrance. If you are an aspiring sportsman or anything in your field, whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve. And I've in fact found that being close to our faith and reading Salah and things like that, whenever it just helps you. It helps you mentally, and once you're calm mentally, it pushes you a lot further on the field as well.
Mm, mm, mm. And does it inspire also those unique wicket celebrations that you always serve after taking a wicket?
Yeah, that's just me having fun on the field. We've been given an opportunity to do something that we love, an opportunity that not many people get. And, certainly at the end of the day, every sportsman has to stop at some point. So, that's just my way of enjoying myself on the field for as long as I'm playing, because, one day they're just going to be memories. So I'd
Mm.
just like to make good memories to keep for the rest of my life.
No, thank you so much, Tabraiz, for joining us. Lastly, before I let you go, any message to our listeners for Ramadan? What do you have to say to them? A very special, auspicious month. I'm sure they're listening, and they want to hear from you.
Yeah, I just want to wish everyone Ramadan Mubarak. Hope they have a lovely month, and lots of blessings for everyone's families and for them as well.
We're going to leave on that note. Thank you so much to Tabraiz Shamsi for sharing your incredible journey with us today. For I think how you balance cricket and your faith also is something very, very unique. Really, really appreciate you giving us your time, and hope to chat soon. Jazakallah so much.
Sakila, nice to speak to you.
There you go. That was one of the